Welcome back. So here's what we're doing today. So we are working on the fence line here. I think I showed in a different video where we had completed this side here, and now we're working on this side. It's been a while since I've worked on this fence line, partially because it's been so dang cold that we needed to give the time for the concrete to start curing and whatnot. But basically what we're doing is we are finishing putting in the uprights. I've got one more to do here, and I do have the holes dug, but we've had so much wind and it's been about 6 months or so that the holes is filled back in, so we gotta dig them back out. I guess before I start digging, I should explain why we're building this fence. So what we're doing here, the reason we're doing this is originally this area was one big pen, and when we bring all the calves in off the field, we bring them in through here. And what was happening is we were unable to control this huge span of space. And so the cattle would come in here, and then we wouldn't really be able to control them, direct them. It was a lot of chaos. And so down at the ranch, when we put everything into a pen, there's what they call a wing. And so the wing kind of creates a funnel. So you push them up against the wing, and you use the side of the corral as another wall, and they all funnel into a gate. So if you look at this design, we have a wall coming this way, we're going to have a wall coming this way, and we're going to build a fence line this way. So when they come up this way, it'll just all be fence here. So basically they're going to have this open area, and it's going to funnel in, and at the very end, although you can't quite see it because of the way the corral is set up right now, it's going to be a giant open spot for them to run into. And so cattle behavior, if they have a open spot, they're going to run to it, they're going to go into it. And so basically what happens is this, as you get closer, it starts to shrink down, and then they run in here. And so that is the design, or the reason why, the reason why we are building this. We've tested it a number of times and it works well. And so and the way we tested it is we put up these hog panels, we put them up and then ran the cattle in, and actually we had this a little bit more on this angle, and at the very end it was too tight, because we're also planning for, you know, when we gather 150 200 head of cattle, we need to give them some space as well. So we got one more pipe to put in. I got to dig it out, so we're going to do that. And then while I'm here, I'll tell you this other piece is the fence line, if you see, comes in this way. So this structure will go away, and that'll finish opening up this hole. And we're going to put in a top rail. So a top rail sits here, and then we'll put in a bottom rail, and then put the hog panel on top of that. And so also we're going to have to cut this, because that other pipe, the top rail, is going to come in and marry up probably right there. So this structure will end up going away, and it is supporting this gate. And so the new support will be the top bar, and then I can run an H brace down here to help support that, just like I did on this guy here. So we've got our top rail, we've got our H brace, and then we have the next rail that comes over, or the bottom rail, and we tack the panel on that. So we'll mirror and do the same thing over there to help support that gate. And then that structure can come out, and this will really open up. So like I said, these holes have already been dug. We dug them with an auger about 6 or 8 months ago. but with all the wind and the cattle coming over and all that stuff, they've completely filled them up. And so we gotta empty them out again. This hole in particular, we're only going down a foot because we have a water pipe sitting below this, and I don't want to go all the way down and hit that pipe again. All my other uprights are in the ground 2 feet, and then they stick up 58.5 inches above the ground. All right, so I dug down. The hole came out to be about 16 inches deep. That'll be fine. So I need to go and get a pipe and cut it, what, 72.5 inches, and that should just be about right. And then we can concrete it in, and then we can go get I think that piece is going to be in the way, so we'll go get the torches. We'll cut out a piece of that structure so I can get a top rail on. We'll have to get the pipe, cut a saddle in that on the one end, and then go get, then we can go put the pipe on. So I think I've got some pipe up here. All right, so we got our pipe cut. There's lots of videos that I've made. I don't know about a lot, but if you want to see me cutting pipe and all that kind of cool stuff, there's other videos out there where I do a bunch of pipe cutting and whatnot. But anyways, we got our pipe. We're gonna run over to the tractor here and dump the pipe in the bucket. The bucket has concrete bags in it, and so we'll take that all over there, and we'll get this pipe concreted in, and then we'll use the tractor to go load up the acetylene tanks and the oxygen. Oop, there's a nail, I better get that. Let's see. I don't want to get burned because that other end is hot. There we go. Got it. But after we get this pipe put in the ground, then we can go get the tanks over and cut that piece out so we can go put a top rail in. That'll be awesome. Okay, so we'll get our pipe out. This time I'm not going to throw it in the ground. That's how it started, this whole mess with me having to dig up all these pipelines. All right. This top line doesn't mean anything. I'm just using that to keep the saddles going the right direction. And so that's not a height thing. All right, so I gotta get the concrete out and we gotta go get some water. I guess we better go get some water first. All right, so we're gonna mix up this concrete. I was only going for a half a bag and the bag ripped, so now I got 60 pounds of concrete in here. And so, slight distraction. I'm gonna go around and fill up the top of some of the poles, the uprights, in the corral and on some of these other gates. That way when it rains, the water doesn't go down the pole and rot the bottom of the pole out, because I don't want to waste the concrete. I may end up wasting some of it, but I can at least get some beneficial use out of it elsewhere. And I'll show you how I cap the top of it to keep the concrete from going down the pole. I learned this little trick from my senior advisor. can either swirl it around to get the air out, or I've taken a T-post and jabbed it in the ground to get the air out. Make sure everything settles good. All right, that looks pretty good. Check it this way. You got to check them both ways. All right, so we got it that way. That way, that looks pretty good. Okay. And then what I've been doing is you just run this line over the saddles and line them up. Make sure you've got the saddle going the right direction. So we'll let that sit for a minute. We're gonna load the rest of this concrete up. And we'll go show you, I'll go show you what I mean about filling in the tops of the poles here. So these poles, when they were first put in, these supports, they were left open. And so what'll happen is water will come down and it'll accumulate at the bottom and it'll rust out the bottom of your pole. And that sucks. So what I do, and this is what I learned, is you can take your old concrete bags or newspaper or whatever, and you can shove them in the hole. Actually, let me put the camera down so I can do this better. So you can take your old concrete bags, and you shove them down the hole, and all you're doing is just giving a support for that concrete. Put them down about that much or so, a couple inches, and then you just take your concrete, your extra concrete, just put in the hole. And you're just putting a cap on it, that's all you're doing. And you just do that all the way around, and you can reduce, or I guess the better way to say it is you can increase the life of your uprights. All right, so after getting thoroughly distracted from putting up the, or capping all the pipes, we're back over here. I got the tanks, settling tanks, oxygen tank. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this bar right here. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure the main bar is gonna come in and hit right about where this is. So we're gonna cut this bar out, and then I will probably end up cutting the rest of these, but I'm not gonna cut all of them until I can get the H-brace in. So I'll work on a couple of these. We'll put the H-brace in, we'll put the top rail in, and then we'll cut the rest of this out. That way this gate is still supported and we don't actually, you know, we don't want it to sag after we take off those braces. So, all right, let's cut some pipe. I may need a hammer, I don't know. Okay, so we got done cutting the pipe, and I'm running over to grab the top bar and the H-brace. And since I got all my tanks over there where I cut that pipe, I'm just gonna bring all this over there and I'll just cut it right there. We'll get that H-brace in, and then as soon as the H-brace is in and the first top bar, then I can finish cutting out that one last support, and I can take that whole assembly out. I also got this corner over here cut up, and oddly enough, it just came right out of the ground. I figured it would have really given me heck, but it just came right out of the ground. So that's really nice to see that gone. This oil field pipe is 2 3/8, and they're 32 feet. maybe 33, 32, 33, 32 feet, somewhere in there. It's not certified to pump oil anymore, but it does just an awesome job for making corrals. All right, so I now know that my span across is 107 inches. And so we're gonna build the H-brace, then I'll go get the welder and we'll tack that on. And then, like I said, I will put on this top rail, and then I can finish cutting out this piece here. And basically I gotta cut this out. And then this is the latch for that gate. So I wanna cut this piece out and then figure out where I'm gonna put him. Calves are wondering what's going on. All right, so I've got my H-brace just setting there. We got it nice and level. Boop. So now I need to go grab the welder, the welding helmet, and some sticks, welding sticks, and we'll tack him on. And as soon as that brace is on, we'll put the top brace on, and then we can take this monstrosity out. So let's see here. Monstrosity, what a word. All right, we got our earplugs in, we got our gloves on, got the welder, pipe looks good. Let's see if we can put a tack on it. By tack, I mean put it in. All right, we got it in, both sides, still level. So now we're gonna go, we'll hook up this chain and we're gonna place the top bar on. And actually, before we do that, I need to cut a saddle on that side so it'll marry up to this pipe here. So I'm gonna cut that saddle and then we'll put that top bar on. So here's where I'm at. I've got half the pipe in the ground or on the rail, and I got to get the other piece down. So let's get it down. Okay, we got it set. Now all we got to do is do some adjustments. Get this end down, get that end up. And then we'll be ready to put a weld on it. Looks like this end needs to come up a little bit. I'll leave that chain on the pipe till I get a couple welds on it. Because if for whatever reason it rolls, I need that tractor to catch it. I don't need to be catching that pipe. All right, so we got to turn this a little bit. That way it marries up with the, I don't know if I can do it. Ooh, I can, sweet. So this thing is gonna go up here. I think that's about where it's gonna go. So if I can get it to just stay there, then I can set, let's see. Whew, I missed on this pipe a bunch. That's all right though. I got a tractor to push it down, so that'll be okay. So what I'll probably do is yeah, that's about where he's gonna go. I may move him down just a little bit. Maybe I'll split the difference to about there. The ground slopes down too, so that's part of what we're dealing with. But let me get this welder going and we'll get this pipe on. Well, it's been a couple hours since I turned the camera on. It's pretty late in the day now, but we got the top rail on, which is always fun to do by yourself. But you saw how I did the first one. I just repeated the process for all the other ones. Got everything welded in, and we got everything welded in down there at the end where that gate is. We have one brace that we need to take off, which I just didn't get to. The next thing we got to do is we need to run a bottom rail here, just like on this side. See, we got the bottom rail here, that's the top rail. So we got to run a bottom rail, and then after we get that on there, then we will start putting on the hog panels like this guy here, and that will cover up this little hole over here and allow this part of the fence line to be done. We can take out the rest of that little structure there, and then the crowd fence project will be done, which will allow us to then start on the alfalfa fence, because we need this post to go out this direction somewhere. We're going to put in the fence post for the gates that are going to go right here for the alfalfa fence, and the fence is going to turn and go that way, and then I don't know what it's going to do over there, but we have to have this post in line because we have to put an H brace in here, and I can't put the H brace in until we have a post over here for where the first gate's going to go. So there's just a daisy chain of things that need to happen to start working on that alfalfa fence and to be done with this crowd fence, which we're pretty close. Probably a weekend. Weekend I'll probably get the crowd fence done. But I'm gonna quit the video here, and we'll pick up this project when I start on the bottom rail. Y'all have a great day. Night? Thanks. Whatever. Bye.